How are y'all doing tonight?
Great.
Yes. I always say, and I followed behind John a couple of times, that following behind John is like following behind the Shriners in the parade, because he's all over the place. Little cars all over the place. I'm here to tell you that I've been working in a building this summer that has been under construction, and you know those hunky guys that are in the Pepsi commercials, and when it gets really hot they take off their shirts and wipe the sweat off their brows? They are not hired by DEW. And I am ever so grateful that it was a very cool summer. I said to the foreman the other day, how's things going? And he looked at me straight faced and he said, I need another 4 inches. Right. Exactly. It's a great setup line. I mean, I was biting my tongue. There were so many things I wanted to say, and I knew he was talking about the elevator shaft. But I could not come back. You want to know why? Because I work at a church. I started doing comedy a few years ago when I found myself going through the torturous rite of passage into menopause. And I am finding that the torturous rite of menopause continues to go through betrayals of your body, things you don't realize, nobody tells you about. It just keeps happening. One of the latest things I have found is that because your brain is working so hard at making sure that you have hot flashes, night sweats, insomnia, and emotional mood swings, you tend to find yourself having a lapse in judgment. Now, this is not like a senior moment, people. This is where you do something and it's stupid. But you can blame it on menopause. My example. My husband and I are at the airport. We are going to fly away together. It is early morning and I say to him, dear, will you go get me a cup of coffee? And because he loves me, he did. And we sat outside waiting to get in, you know, to give your tickets and to go through security. And I always am very nervous about that anyway because I can't get any of my jewelry off. So when we go give our tickets and we get in, we go to security, I can't stop myself. I know security has absolutely no sense of humor. But I say to them, I'm ready for my personal massage. And then I have to wait for, the big woman to make sure that, she does it really carefully and takes her time doing it. And then I go into the room where I am now waiting to board the plane. And I turn to my husband and I say, would you get me a cup of coffee? And he says, I already did. What did you do with the cup of coffee I gave you? I threw it away. Why? Because it was too hot. I'm driving with my daughter. She says, Mom, you should have stopped back there. I said, no, I'm sure it was yellow. She says, Mom, it was a red stop sign. I told her, I am a much better driver when you're not in the car. Another quirky little thing I found about on the hard way through menopause is that, let's put it this way, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is dehydrated. So I called and I talked to the doctor about it. I said, I've got this little problem. Sex isn't as much fun as it should be. What do I do? And she explained what I should do, and so I went out and I got some stuff. And I, sat down with my husband and I explained, honey, it's not you. It's nothing that you're doing. Except for maybe that thing with the nose. It doesn't work for me. But quite honestly, our sex life is fine. I just, am going to need a little help. And this is going to be my code word, okay? When I say to you, honey, I need a little help, that's so you'll understand that I need some stuff. Because clearly this is much better than saying, honey, would you break out the tube of KY jelly? Because I'm ready for you now. Now, I spent all this time talking to my husband about, that it wasn't him and he should feel really good about himself as a lover, blah, 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 blah. I forgot to tell him how to apply it. Sure. And this doesn't happen every time, right, ladies? It doesn't happen every time. So when the first time it happens, I say, honey, I need a little help. So he reaches over to get the stuff, and he applies it to himself. My former altar boy was done before we started. Young people, I hope you're all taking notes because Mom's not going to tell you about this. In fact, the only advice my mother ever gave to me, she said to me when I got married that night, the wedding night, she said, honey, here's really important advice you need to know about. Pee after sex. I said, okay. So on my wedding night, while we were basking in the afterglow, I wet the bed. There is one other little bit about menopause that I have found that is really excruciating. It's humiliating. I can't believe this happens to us. Now, we all know that certain body parts lose, how we should say, the rigidity. And I'm not talking about chins or breasts or bellies. In fact, I know there are women out here who are probably stifling their laughter because they're afraid they're going to wet themselves. But I'm telling you that I would rather let a little pee slip through than a fart. Because once that happens, it's all over. I am in the choir. And I noticed that the director of music needs a pencil to mark the music. And so I walk up in front of all of the choir, and I hand him a pencil, which drops to the top of the piano, rolls off, and I bend down to get it. It's not even a little... It's a long... There are no dogs or old men nearby. I have no one to blame. Menopause. La la la. How am I doing on time? Oh, goody. One last joke then. My husband and I have been married 27 years, and for the first time a year ago, well, thank you. Actually, it's been 19 years of wedded bliss, but we won't talk about those over years. So we've been married for 27 years, and for the first time a year ago, my husband's family gets together and has a reunion. And now I'm meeting people for the first time I've never met before. And fortified by the open bar, and the fact that there is a karaoke machine, which I've never tried out, I decide to impress these family members. And so I pick a song that I'm quite familiar with in the shower, and it is Bette Midler's Do You Want to Dance? And it goes like this. Do you want to dance? Hold my hand. Tell me you're my lover man, oh baby. Do you want to dance? Now I'm doing that part okay. Good, right? That's fine. I'm sounding okay. But there gets to be a part where she goes up a whole octave. And as I'm watching the words and I am singing, yeah, oh shit, now I know I am not going to be able to hit those last notes, so I go,